Hi, so my name's Natalie Berry, and today I'm going to be raising the question of whether we're leading good students astray and the notion that we are failing well-behaved students. So I guess I'll start by saying that I never really wanted to do this module. When I was assigned it, I sort of felt like crying, like I wasn't interested in education, didn't care about it. And then I'm sure a lot of you will have probably found, even if you are interested in education, that as we've gone on researching it, we've seen just how important it is. And in the short amount of time, I've realised the extent to which our education shapes the people who we are today. It therefore seems vital that we need to ensure that our education system is of a high quality to produce high quality students and, in effect, a high quality workforce. So my past experiences of education have been somewhat colourful, and I guess you could probably describe me as good girl gone bad. When I was in primary school, I was really well behaved, and the teacher even said that I was like a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day. When I went to secondary school, I was put in a tutor group where I would say about 75% of the students were really badly behaved. I mean, they would set fire to classrooms, it was that bad. And the rest of us would just sit there on tables, not knowing what to do. And eventually it got to the point where I started to misbehave as well, because I wasn't getting any attention from the teachers. I was being made fun of for being a suck-up. And so, yeah, it eventually got to the point where my parents decided to move me schools after I threw paint over a teacher, so, which wasn't great. But then I ended up going to a school where, good behaviour was rewarded and bad behaviour was punished. These experiences have led me to believe that positive and negative reinforcement and punishment are used badly in schools at the moment. Okay, so I'm sure you all know this, we've been lectured about it a lot, but I'll just give a brief overview. So positive reinforcement is the addition of something pleasant which makes behaviour more likely to occur again. And negative reinforcement is the removal of something unpleasant, which again makes the behaviour more likely. Positive punishment is the addition of something unpleasant, which makes the behaviour less likely. And negative punishment is the removal of something pleasant, which makes the behaviour again less likely to occur. So how is this affecting students? Well, currently, students receive positive reinforcement for bad behaviour. So an example of this is that the bad behaviour occurs, the teacher shouts, the student gets attention, and this behaviour is reinforced and more likely to happen. And they also receive negative reinforcement in that sometimes when bad behaviour occurs, they're sent out of the classroom, and that means that they don't have to do their work. So again, this behaviour is reinforced. It's also affecting well-behaved students, but in terms of punishment. So for example, when a student displays good behaviour, the student is bullied by peers, which means that they get punished. So good behaviour is less likely. And negative punishment in that they display good behaviour, the behaviour is ignored, and they're not likely to display this behaviour again. So this is clearly a system that needs to be changed. The occurrence of reinforcement and punishment is natural and needs to be used effectively by teachers in education. Now, this isn't a criticism on teachers, and even they state that they would like more training in behaviour management in the classroom. And Charlton and David state that the classroom needs to be changed so that good behaviour is rewarded and bad behaviour is punished. Okay, so there are various methods in our classrooms that encourage good behaviour through positive reinforcement. However, some educators are reluctant to use positive reinforcement as they see it as bribery. Arguably, this is one of the reasons for the failings in our education system. Misunderstandings are leading to important techniques being ignored. So one way of using positive reinforcement in the classroom is token economy. And this involves students being informed of the desired behaviour and being given a token when this behaviour is displayed. The tokens can then be exchanged for things like prizes or activities. So Kasdan found that token economy is extremely effective in the classroom, but it needs to be implemented effectively by teachers, and they need to be trained to do that. Philcheck, McNeil, Greco and Bernard found that undesirable behaviour decreased through token economy, and Bonecki and Moore found that student participation increased. So it shows that not only does undesirable behaviour decrease, but that student participation increases, so therefore it should really be used. However, it should be applied consistently. For example, if a student was helping a teacher set up a classroom and they were given a token, then the other student displaying the same behaviour should also be rewarded. It is also often the case that in schools they do use this to some degree, but the problem is that students who are continually well behaved aren't given tokens, and when badly behaved students show good behaviour, they're given tokens, so it can cause resentment and things like that. Also, a lot of the rewards given in schools aren't of any real value, so they need to sort of address that situation as well. Okay, so in conclusion, positive reinforcement needs to be implemented in more effective ways, such as token economy, to encourage good behaviour instead of bad behaviour. Better implementation should increase student participation, learning, and more importantly, their future well-being and behaviour in the wider community. So in the next presentation, I'll expand on this point and I'll talk about the positive punishment that well-behaved students receive currently in education. So thanks for listening. Any questions? Yes?
What happens to the children when the tokens are gone when they leave school? Do they behave?
Well, that's another issue with it, and that's what they've said. I mean, eventually, I think the idea is that they start off doing it at quite a young age, and eventually almost wean them off and like make them learn to encourage to sort of perform well due to praise rather than material goods. But it's definitely something that should be done at lower level, and then sort of start at secondary school, I think, as well, and maybe sort of edge off at year 10ish. So to sort of wean them off, I guess, so they don't rely on it.
So I understand the implementation of the token economy is like the ultimate goal, but what happens when children are still behaving badly? Like, are you supposed to give them the attention, like, to address it? Are you supposed to take them away and not have them finish their
Yeah.
Like, it still needs to be addressed, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a difficult thing as well. I mean, I think it was Mag who said about that they're getting negative reinforcement and positive reinforcement, in that they get positive reinforcement through attention, but then negative reinforcement through avoiding work. And it almost seems slightly contradictory in what he's saying, because he's saying, well, don't give the attention, but then he's saying, well, don't send them out of the room. So it's definitely an area that needs to be researched like a lot more. And I think token economy does have its place, but it needs to be used really, really carefully.